Since the start, the Lion of Judah community has attracted women committed to driving change and making a difference in the Jewish world. In early 1970s Miami, when Norma Kipnis Wilson and Toby Friedland of blessed memory first challenged the then women's division to increase their fundraising goal to $1 million, it was unprecedented. Not only was that a massive goal for the time, but women were not yet making financial decisions for their households. But they had a vision to do something big. Something for Jewish women. Something for Israel. Inspired, they founded the Lion of Judah. Toby and Norma never dreamed Lion of Judah would be as powerful as it is today. With over 18,000 lions worldwide, this group is emblematic of the power women have to make all the difference. The money we raise and the programs we support are central to the current and future strength of the Jewish community.
We're not people who don't finish. We're people who start and continue. And we continue not to the end, but if you have family, to a new beginning. And if you become a forever lion, it's a new beginning.
A warm welcome to everyone joining us from all over the world. Longtime Lions, new Lions, and future Lions. My name is Carolyn Gitlin, Chair of National Women's Philanthropy, and I am so happy to be here with you today as we kick off the 50th year of Lion of Judah, an incredibly powerful milestone. A lion is more than a philanthropist, and her pin is more than a pin. It's an emblem that each woman wears proudly, symbolizing her ongoing commitment to strengthening Jewish life and building flourishing Jewish communities. I am proud to stand with each of you, this group of strong, generous, influential women who come together consistently to make a difference in the Jewish community. Last month, we lost our role model and visionary, Norma Kipnis Wilson. Norma and her friend, Toby Friedland of blessed memory, created Lion of Judah. It took tremendous perseverance and commitment to start the Lion of Judah 50 years ago. We can now celebrate this international movement, which is considered the most influential brand in philanthropy today, with over 18,000 lions. While we are unable to celebrate together in person, it is beautiful to see thousands of you logged on today to honor this anniversary remotely in such a special way. Over the next hour or so, we will hear from fellow Lions, philanthropists, and Jewish Federation leaders who will highlight our impact. To get us started, we will enjoy a few words of Torah from Rabbi Elka Abramson, president of the Wexner Foundation and fellow Lion.
By my account, this is the fourth time I have had the privilege of teaching Torah to you, my beloved Lions. And here we are, once again, in the days when we chant the magnificent verses of Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, our ancestors sang as they escaped Egyptian oppression. Every Torah scroll exquisitely preserves this miracle in what is called a calligram, the use of words to capture a story. On this occasion, when we celebrate 50 years of women's philanthropy, it is fitting that we shine a unique light on our timbrel-playing matriarch, Miriam HaNeviah, the sister of Moses and Aaron, the source of flowing waters when our ancestors were parched in the desert. In this week's Parsha, she sings and dances to the beat of her famous tambourine. We find close to 30 unique instruments mentioned in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible, harps and other strings, woodwinds, brass, and of course, as we find here, percussion, the steady beat that holds the song together. Historians who study the occasions where the tof, the hand drum, is played in ancient Israel tell us that it appears to be an instrument reserved only for the women. In Psalms, we read, "First come singers, then musicians, among them maidens playing the hand drums." Similarly, in Judges, when Yiftach arrives home, and Vihine Bito, there was his daughter coming out to meet him, Bitupim uv'imcholot, with timbrel and dance. And in Jeremiah, Israel itself is personified as a woman in celebration, playing her timbrel. I will build you firmly again, O maiden Israel. O tadi tupaich, again you shall take up your timbrels. V'yatzat bimchol mesachakim, and go forth to the rhythm of the dancers. The women of Israel are the backbone of the ancient and eternal orchestra that is the Jewish people. We even have 3,000-year-old artifacts as evidence. How perfect a metaphor for this remarkably successful endeavor that was established in 1972, 50 years ago. In these 5 decades, Lions of Judah has flourished. You are the most dynamic, philanthropic Jewish women in the world. We can say tonight that generations of women have been beating the drum for a thriving, safe, learned, and secure Jewish community. You have donated precious time and resources, but much more than that, you have stepped up to exercise meaningful leadership in your own communities, in North America, in Israel, and around the globe. You have opened your hearts, beating with kindness and a passion for justice, to the power of tzedakah, and in doing so, you have stirred the hearts of others. It has been a privilege to witness that holy, heart-opening time and time again. Lions of Judah, you have inherited a unique understanding about thriving Jewish community, also passed from Miriam and her sisters to us. Not only do women provide an enduring rhythm for the song of our beloved people, we also dance. And biblical scholars reveal that we dance in our own particular way. Miriam HaNeviah, Miriam the prophetess, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her, betupim uvimcholot, dancing with those timbrels. Women's dancing is described with the Hebrew word uvimcholot, whereas the men who dance in the ancient world use the more familiar rikud. It is therefore assumed by scholars that in the ancient world, women had their own unique dancing style. It is likely, suggests Professor Carol Myers, that while the men danced in lines, the women moved together in a circle. Aha! In a circle, we see one another. Our eyes meet easily. We are more attentive. We note who is present and who is missing, be it physically or spiritually. We give and take energy easily, and if you are at the closing circle of a Lion of Judah event, you also know where to pass the tissue or the rugelach. There is no hierarchy in a circle, only connection. There is no break in a circle, only unity. Though this virtual gathering is not the setting we might have chosen for celebrating a Jubilee anniversary, how we gather is but a footnote to the far deeper meaning of this night. What time will recall is that the Lions of Judah of 2022 represent a strong and unbroken circle, that the rhythm you bring to Jewish life is reliable and enduring. Indeed, 50 years from now, when a century of this connected collective is celebrated, it will be said that a lion's heart beats strong within each and every one of you. It will be said that you are a single force energizing Jewish life for and beating the drum for a vibrant Jewish future. Now that, my friends, is a good reason to follow in Miriam's footsteps. Take up your tambourines and dance, please God, in good health and in good spirit.
you, Rabbi Abramson. That was a beautiful way to start our program today. And for those of you who have not seen our next speaker, you are in for an incredible treat. A recent graduate of Columbia University, board member of the Columbia Barnard Hillel, and the 2015 Oakland Youth Poet Laureate, Tova Ricardo writes powerfully about identity, anti-Semitism, anti-Blackness, and inequality. We are very lucky to hear her perform her poem, Black Palm and Honey Voice.
A man asked how I could sing a song if I could not speak its language. I sing all of my blues in the ash of diaspora. I listen to melodies of assimilation come from all the words I wasn't taught, 4 generations removed from fluency, and I can only survive prayer by transliteration. My great-grandfather fled Salonika, Greece, and now my family is named after refuge. He acquired the last name Salonik because the immigration officers couldn't understand him. I can spell my name in Hebrew. I practice reciting the Amidah for memorization, and I try my best to study more Torah. But sometimes I check my messages before I say the Modeh Ani, and I haven't davened without crying in over a year. I face eastward, with my legs covered to the white dust of my kneecaps and the crescents of my collarbones, eyes veiled by a right hand like my mother taught me. From a whisper, pours a prayer. I correct the chet as my legs rock with enough kavanah to undo a tongue the color of lost memory. Hebrew watches me remember each other 100 decades before the fire bombings. I keep swaying. I think of making challah with my mom. I keep swaying. I think of honey sticks on Rosh Hashanah and how I came to love Chabad when every other synagogue wouldn't accept my family's brown skin. Sometimes I wonder if I'm making my ancestors proud. I am a young Jew in the age of Poway, Tree of Life, and campus anti-Semitism. I have lost friends because I am a Zionist. I have been told to go back to or leave every country my people have known. And now a rabbi tells me that the greatest revenge is to become more Jewish every day. So I became a Bala Teshuvah, a master of return. Every day, I become closer to a Judaism I wish to see alive everywhere I go. I think of my Yiddish-speaking grandmothers, my bat mitzvah in Yerushalayim, my mother singing the Shema. I stroll through town, and a salon of women eat thick hummus to the backdrop of Achin Noam Nini lullabying us into fluency. A dozen bouncing payas sing Shalom Aleichem through the streets and get to keep their flesh. I scoop constellations of pomegranate rubies from a bowl, bless sweet baklava, in a broken Hebrew. I undo generations of assimilation and pogroms with every mitzvot, every tehillim I read. I may stumble on the words, and that's okay. I say Am Yisrael Chai without fear of a czar, a BDS campaign, or a politician. I say Am Yisrael Chai with a black palm and a honey voice.
Tova, that was just so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And thank you to our National Women's Philanthropy Board members who participated in that moving video. Everyone finds their own path to becoming a Lion of Judah, each story unique and wonderful in its own way. Our next story comes from Abra Sills, a proud lion who didn't know just how significant her pin was until an enlightening conversation with her grandmother, a Holocaust survivor.
My name is Abra Anna Sills, and I live in San Francisco. I come from a Jewish family, both sides, and on my dad's side, I'm second generation Jewish American, and my grandmother, she escaped Nazi Germany on the Kindertransport with her sister. So when she was, I believe, 9 and her sister was 11, they got on a train and it took them to Amsterdam, where they lived in Holland for 9 months by themselves while their parents, there was a lottery to leave Germany while their number came up. And when their number came up, my great-grandparents came and picked up my grandma and her sister, and they brought them to America. And her one big message was, and still is today, that the reason she feels like she survived and she got out of, she calls it Hitler's hell, was so that she could have Jewish descendants and Jewish grandchildren. I was talking to my grandma about cabinet and becoming a lion, and she said, oh, you know, I was a lion. And he said, oh, can I see your pin? And she said, I'll bring it to you next time that I come out. And she came out and she remembered and she brought this pin, and I wore it to my first cabinet retreat when I became a lion. And right after that retreat, I looked at the back of this pin and it said 71 IF. 71 was the first year there was a lion available in Chicago, and IF meant that your grandmother designated her gift to the Israel Fund. I really love that's like engraved on there, and it's kind of like a bit of history that I uncovered. Today, I'm really proud to say I'm endowed as a lion. And I always wear my two lions together. A lot of people ask, why wearing two lions? Is it two cities? Is it this? And I like to say, this one's my grandma's and this one's mine. And I think there's power in two lions.
What a touching story. Abra, thinking of you wearing those two pins is so special, and it gives me chills. We all know that throughout history, in all parts of the world, Jews have been forced to hide their identities. From their stories of ancient Greece to modern-day New York, nowhere is it always safe to be Jewish. But that's where we come in. It is part of Federation's mission and our work as Lions of Judah to create and secure flourishing Jewish communities. Right here in North America and in parts of the world that do not allow for Jews to be themselves, Federation and our partners work to establish and grow strong Jewish communities. In the next segment, we will hear from the growing Jewish community in Ukraine, an inspiring example of our work. Then we'll hear from Lana and Franklin Parr about their unbelievable journey. Their story truly exemplifies the miracle of the work we do and the beauty of paying it forward. This is a story you won't want to miss, and one that I promise will stay with you forever.
In Soviet Union, we had in our passports, we have stamps saying you are Jew. And my mother, it was prohibited for her to enter the university she wanted because of her patronymic name, because it showed that she was Jew. Sometimes on Fridays, we met together on a big table, having different dishes, but never said it was Shabbat, because it was really prohibited.
My Jewish life started 3 years ago. Before that period, I knew nothing about Judaism, about Jewish traditions.
I think there's a growing excitement here. I think something very magical is starting to happen.
I feel and I believe that Metsudah is very important and actually unique project in the Jewish community of Ukraine.
The program Metsudah cultivates this new generation of young Jewish leaders, people who will build the Jewish community further, people who will take part of this. This is the first generation of people who are able to be Jewish, who are not suppressed by the history of the Soviet Union, of the Holocaust, everything that's happening in this part of the world. They're going to be the ones who will bring their kids to the community, and they're the first generation who are able to do this.
Now my daughter says that she is Jewish, Ukrainian Jew. So when someone is asking about her nationality, she said, I'm Ukrainian Jew. And for me, it's a big victory.
What we're hoping to inspire is true Jewish revival in this part of the world.
Our strong belief that we will succeed really build strong Jewish community and strong Jewish future here in Ukraine.
Hi, I'm Lana Parr.
And I'm Franklin Parr. My lovely wife and I are proud third-year cabinet members.
We are here to share our story of how the Federation impacted our lives and why that inspires us to continue paying it forward through involvement in Federation.
Lana and I were both born in 1984, but we had very different childhoods. I was born and raised in Nashville with my mom, dad, and younger sister. Jews were and still are very well liked in Nashville, even though we were and still are very much minorities in the South. So I always felt safe and proud of my heritage. My family, grandparents in particular, were passionate about giving back. After serving as a fighter pilot in World War II, my grandfather came to Nashville with nothing to his name. But with the community support and hard work, he ultimately had opportunities to advance professionally and socially.
I was born in Belarus, Minsk, where I lived with my mom, dad, and older sister. Anti-Semitism was rampant. My mom used to light the menorah in a closet so no one could see we were Jewish. My sister was rejected from graduate school because she was a Jew. My parents were desperate to move to the US because they realized that my sister and I would otherwise miss out on every opportunity simply because we were Jewish. After years of trying, we were eventually invited to immigrate to the US. And this incredible opportunity was only made possible by the hard work of Jewish federations and the Jewish community at large. The second that we stepped off the plane, the Federation had volunteers who were waiting for us. They brought us to an apartment complex right across from the JCC. They had a fully stocked refrigerator and a furnished apartment. My mom took my hand and she told me, "You know what? You can smell this fresh air. Our house has food and furniture in it, and you can be whatever you want to be in America." The smile on her face and her happy tears are still ingrained in my memory. Federation and Jewish Family Services helped my parents get jobs and arranged for them to get rides to work every day. They paid $30 for my dad to take a taxi to earn $50 for the day. They did so much. They helped my mom get into college, and they paid for me to go to Jewish day school, Akiva School, where I learned Hebrew, English, and all about my Judaism. Later on, I attended private schools and the University of Tennessee.
When Lana and I got engaged, my grandparents finally told us that we were among a handful of families who bought the plane tickets for the former USSR immigrants arriving the year Lana's family did. My grandparents essentially paid for my future wife's family to come to the US for a better life.
We also learned that Franklin's grandparents donated the furniture that my family had used in our first apartment in Nashville. His grandfather was also the one who paid for a scholarship for me to attend private high school in town. He got a phone call and they told him that a Jewish girl needed help with tuition, and he gladly made it happen. My family moved to the US 33 years ago, just the four of us. Now my parents have a family of 22 hardworking, successful, and generous people, all eternally grateful for the support of the Jewish Federation and donors like you and your families.
Your generosity makes a difference. You may never know the personal extent to which it does, but the same year Lana's family arrived in the US, Federation helped 85,000 Jews immigrate from Belarus to safety.
I would not be here today if it weren't for the Jewish Federation. We are all better because of what the Federation does and what the Federation provides for people in Jewish communities across the US and all over the world. In fact, today in the former Soviet Union, Federation is still there, making an impact, ensuring that Jewish communities can feel proud of their heritage and traditions. For our story and more, I am incredibly proud to be a part of a powerful community of philanthropic women. Being a Lion of Judah is my way of paying it forward, the incredible gift that I was given.
It is, of course, a great honor for me to participate in this kickoff celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Lion of Judah program, the most impressive philanthropic network in the Jewish community, and to congratulate Carolyn Gitlin, our National Women's Philanthropy Chair, and Shelley Kupfer, the immediate past chair, Julie Platt, our National Campaign Chair, and all of the women who have led this network for this amazing 50 years. Now, it is true that 50 years is quite an accomplishment, and much has been achieved, and I join you in celebrating those achievements. But let's keep it in perspective. Abraham was 75 years old when God spoke to him and said, Lech lecha me'artzecha, leave your home and your place of birth and go to the land that I will show you. Sarah was 90 years old when God told her that she would have a child and that through her son Isaac, she would be the mother of the Jewish people. And of course, in just a little over a year, we're going to celebrate the 75th birthday of our beloved and very young Jewish state, the state of Israel. So, on this occasion, it is important to celebrate the accomplishments of the past 50 years. But what we really wish for is that this golden anniversary is the beginning of the next phase of the wonderful history of the Lions of Judah. In the Jewish community, when we wish someone a happy birthday, we say, Ad me'av yasrim, may you live to 120. But in the case of the Lions of Judah, even 120 is not good enough. What we pray for today, and on that which we seek God's blessings, is that generations and generations of inspiring, impactful, motivational women's philanthropic leadership will help build and sustain a flourishing Jewish people forever. Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be. Now, one of the amazing miracles that the Lions of Judah have supported during these past 50 years is the aliyah, the exodus of the Jews of Ethiopia to Israel. And that exodus continues even today, as the Lions of Judah, National Women's Philanthropy, the Jewish Federations of North America are partnering with the government of Israel and the Jewish Agency for Israel to bring yet another significant group of Olim from Ethiopia to reunite families that have long been separated, to save those in danger in Ethiopia's civil war, and to continue the rebuilding of Zion. But even as we work to complete that aliyah, the fruits of its success are right in front of our eyes. The Olim who came to Israel as young children have begun to take their rightful places of leadership in Israeli society and in the Jewish world. One of those amazing leaders is with us today, Avezu Fanta, who is the Jewish Agency for Israel Fellow at Temple University. Aveza is an inspiring teacher and leader who is working with our children on college campuses today and who is a great leader of the Jewish people. Welcome, Avezu.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me. And today I want to speak with you about peoplehood, because for me, peoplehood, before I came to be shlicha in North America, it was all the time in the Israeli context, all the time as just the Israeli people that live in Israel. 2 years before I became shlicha, my brother told me a lot about Operation Salomon, because for me, Operation Salomon was all the time the story about the Israeli government and the story about the Jewish community. It made me learn about the Jewish American and how they work behind the doors to make sure that we will make the dream and will come to Israel. So for me, it's a great opportunity first to say thank you all, because my brother all the time tell me, like, when you meet the leaders of the American Jewish community, say thank you, because it's very important. And people would, for me today, after 2 years as Israeli shlicha in Temple University, it's different context, because the story of like different Jewish community all over the world come together for one goal. It's so important, and I think it's so beautiful to see that. And this is the story we need to continue and speak and share with all the world. The Jewish people can come together, although a lot of disagreement with my Jewish community in the university sometimes about Israel, but still we have like this big connection over our Zionism story, over our Jewish identity, and it's so important. So thank you all. And I would just want to say thank you. And I really, really want appreciate the opportunity from the Jewish Agency to come here and learn about the American Jewish community, something that I didn't have the opportunity if I will not be shlicha. And of course, if I will not make the aliyah with your help. So thank you all.
This is so exciting. The plane just landed, bringing with it hundreds of new immigrants from Ethiopia who've been dreaming about this moment, fulfilling the dreams of old, the dreams of generations. We're so excited, we at the Jewish Agency, for working day in, day out with hundreds of employees to make this happen, but it couldn't have been happening without the support of the Jewish Federations of North America, without you guys, without your support. You are fulfilling the lifelong dreams of so many Jews from so many countries. We are perceiving a huge wave of immigration, of aliyah to Israel post-COVID, and it cannot be done without the support of our brothers and sisters all over the world, especially in North America. Toda rabah to all of you.
My name is Mark Wilf, and I am chair of the board of the Jewish Federations of North America. I am so honored to be here today to celebrate a group of such incredible women at this Line of Judah 50th anniversary kickoff event, Women Making History. The Lions of Judah are an inimitable force in the Jewish community, and it is such a wonderful accomplishment, though unsurprising, that we are here celebrating 50 years of making a difference. Collectively, the Lions set an example for us all. As a father, a husband, a leader, and simply a member of the Jewish community, I look to the Lions for your strength, your insight, and of course, your altruistic impact. You truly exemplify the power of the collective, and this is made no clearer than your ability to come together through crazy COVID times virtually to still make this celebration come to life. 50 years ago, Toby Friedland and Norma Kipnis Wilson of blessed memory had a bold vision. They set out to innovate and inspire women across North America and ultimately across the globe to make a difference. We lost Norma just last month, but know she was incredibly proud of what Line of Judah became and of the incredible National Women's Philanthropy leadership who continue to pave the way. I've had the great honor of working with National Women's Philanthropy Board Chair Carolyn Gitlin and immediate past chair Shelley Kupfer, and have seen their dedication and effort firsthand. These leaders, as well as the NWP past chairs here with us today, have built this incredible force for good. Women are a pivotal force. The Lions of Judah, individually and together, continue to make huge achievements, not only in the Jewish community at large, but for women in philanthropy. Whether you are new to Lions of Judah or are wearing your great-grandmother's pin, you are part of a 50-year history of making history. I am constantly in awe of the work that's been done, and I'm excited to see what Lions will do for years to come. You are the reason Jewish communities flourish. So it brings me great joy to introduce the next panel. These four incredible women will come together to discuss women's key role in philanthropy, and through it, Lions' ability to drive change. Please join me in welcoming Julie Platt, the National Campaign Chair for the Jewish Federations of North America and a Chair of Live Secure, Shauna Goodman-Sohn, a board member of the Foundation for Jewish Camp, the Jewish Funders Network, and Chair of the Board of Directors of the Morris and Rosalind Goodman Family Foundation, Rachel Hoffer, past Chair of National Leadership Cabinet and an alumna of Fisher Flight, and your moderator, Jeannie Sager, the director of the Women's Philanthropy Institute, who serves on the Advisory Council for Women of Color in Fundraising and Philanthropy. Please enjoy the panel.
Thank you, Mark. My name is Jeannie Sager, and I am the director of the Women's Philanthropy Institute at the Indiana University Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. And it is such a privilege to be with all of you today and to help guide this conversation on women in philanthropy. I am joined by three incredible leaders and female philanthropists, Julie Platt, Shauna Goodman-Sohn, and Rachel Hoffer. So let's kick things off right away. So what we know at the Women's Philanthropy Institute is three very important foundational things, right? Women's wealth is rising. Women's share of wealth has risen considerably over the past 50 years, and today they hold around 40% of global wealth. Women are more likely to give across income levels, generations, and races. Women are more likely to give and give more than their male counterparts. And women give differently. From motivations to causes to behavior, women and men demonstrate different giving patterns. And so, Julie, I want to start the conversation with you. We talk a lot about the research and the data behind women's power in philanthropy, but how do you see it play out in your philanthropic involvement, either with your own giving or those around you?
Thank you. So I would say that it figures in as one of the components in my philanthropy and as I guide my adult children in their philanthropy. There's homework involved in being a philanthropist and time, which means that for me to feel as a responsible philanthropist, I need to understand the unique financial model of any project, initiative, organization in which I'm going to commit philanthropic dollars. But it's just a third, I would say. And the other third is it has to match my passion. And I have to trust the people with whom I'm going to give philanthropy. So I would say it's very important. I see that it is very important to my children to understand the financial stability and the understanding of the books of any organization in which they're going to devote their money, but also equal parts sort of the emotional side as well. And I will only say that you have to make a commitment to the time and to asking the questions and really getting a full understanding.
Thank you, Julie. That really resonates with what the research shows about how women are very drawn to this understanding of impact, that they want to be educated before they give, and they want to do more than just write a check. So really kind of understanding the full scope of philanthropy is being time, talent, treasure, testimony, and ties. So thank you, Julie, for that insight. Let me move to Rachel. In different ways, you are all part of philanthropic families. How do you transfer or transmit Jewish philanthropic values? Thinking about how was it passed down to you, or how you are passing it down to the next generation. In many ways, Julie has kind of reflected on that about teaching her own children about it. But expand on that a little bit from your point of view, Rachel.
Absolutely. I think for so long, they talk about multi-gen philanthropy, and very often it is connected specifically to the amount of dollars that are given. And I think that I would challenge that by philanthropic giving is really value-driven giving. And so whether you're giving $18 or $180,000, like Julie said, it's about the connection, the passion, the emotional piece, as well as making sure the organization that you're connected to, there's viability there, and the impact that is involved is something that you can be proud of and that you want to stand by. And so again, you want to connect with the people as well as the mission, and making sure that it aligns with your values. And that really comes into play as far as with my children. They have their own passions. They're able to make their own decisions. They know our family connection and what we're looking to do and the impact that we are interested in making, but they're able to go on their own. And again, starting with them, they were making their $18 gifts with being able to see what their impact was and what their connection was, knowing 10 years from now, they're not going to be making $18 gifts, but they're still going to have the value-driven giving that they have today. And I received that much from my parents. My father was a nonprofit professional and my mother a dental hygienist. So as far as they didn't have a lot of money to be able to give, but it was always given with their values as well as a capacity for them. And that translates to anyone.
Thank you, Rachel. Shauna, same question. How do you transfer or transmit Jewish philanthropic values, and how was it passed down to you?
Well, I would echo a lot what Rachel said. I think the power of mentoring is huge. And I was very fortunate to have a mother who lived and breathed community and really attributed herself and her growth by her giving and by her participating in activities in the community. And so for me, I was the youngest of four, and I was dragged everywhere. And you don't know what comes in, but when somebody once told me, you don't want to hose someone down, you want to drip, drip, drip. And I really felt like I had the drip, drip, drip from both my parents and really the community of women that I lived around. I did a lot of teas and lunches and stuffing envelopes and licking stamps. And I was fully welcome around the table. So I would definitely say the experiential piece of it and the mentors around me.
Oh, that's great.
I just want to add to what
yes, please,
I just
Julie.
wanted to say one thing to Shauna because I just have to use my visual. I keep both of these on my desk every time I'm having a Jewish conversation. It's my mother and my mother-in-law's, both Zichrona Livracha, their lion pins. They did the exact same thing that you're describing, Shauna, both of them, and I was lucky to have it on both sides.
Wow.
Julie, that's amazing. And it's wonderful to hear. And it shows in the research. We did a study on the transmission of generosity. And what we found was that it was actually more important for daughters in particular to have philanthropy modeled for them versus just being told to do so. So I always appreciate hearing these stories, in particular, this connection with the other women in your lives that have helped model this behavior, and what you all are doing today for your own families. Shauna, I'm going to throw the next question over to you as you're joining us from Tel Aviv. What kinds of differences do you see in philanthropy in the United States, Canada, Israel, and around the world? As we know, Lion of Judah is a international movement. Shauna?
Well, I would say, I'm still an Ola Chadasha here. I'm only 7 years in, so I'm deeply Canadian. So I straddle both worlds, but if I have to see the differences that are, they're pretty obvious. North America is blessed with generations of philanthropy. I'm amazed at the passing down of values and continuity and foundations, and just the whole structure of a foundation in itself has generations behind it, where Israel is still extremely young. We're a young country, and we're really, we've in the past been very much in the receiving, and now we're about giving. And it's a very different mentality. So I have felt really lucky that when I did move here, I joined an organization called the Jewish Funders Network that really allowed me to participate and to take a role in shaping the philanthropic landscape here. So working with young philanthropists here in Israel and the Lions as well, which is active, has been a really interesting exercise because it's still very siloed. There's not much of the umbrella happening here. Maybe because it never rains, but they really don't have the umbrella. And trying to introduce collective responsibility and working as a group, which is what in the diaspora we, so proudly hold our umbrellas up. So it's really a mindset difference, and it's exciting. It's really part of something that's evolving and growing each day.
Thanks, Shauna. That is exciting. So as we think about these differences and we think about passing down, Rachel, I want to ask you a question about wealth. We know about this incredible transfer of wealth that will soon come and will result in women inheriting twice. So how can people and organizations best position themselves to include women in leadership, in decision making, in planning, et cetera, to be set up for success?
Sure. I think interestingly enough, I'd love to say they don't have to do anything differently, as women should just have a seat at the table just because. But obviously, we know that a little more work needs to go into that. We want to make sure that there is a space at the table, that there's room, and that there are people like those that in the younger generation that are already sitting at the table. So we need to make some extra effort, these organizations, to really understand not only the giving capacity, like you're talking about, as far as inheriting twice, but also the intellectual capacity of women, that it is incredibly strong. The connections that we have with our children, with our family members, with friends is strong. We really nurture and work on relationships. And this is all about relationships and passion. And women should be at the forefront of these decisions, and organizations need to make sure that they have that seat at the table, and there are other people that are already in that seat that we can take after that and follow the lead from.
There are a lot of nodding heads around the room. And it's true. We know that women are paying attention to this, and they are paying attention to the organizations and who is sitting around the table and who is leading. And so it's very important to have women's voices there. Thanks so much for that, Rachel. So as we kind of wrap up this conversation, this next question is for all of you. And I'll start with you, Julie. As we think about the future of philanthropy, as we sit here celebrating the Lion of Judah, we think a lot about how younger people want to see the world as more diverse and equitable for those who are often on the outside. How can women leaders use their empathy, their assets, and their experience to help make that happen?
So it's on us. I mean, that is for sure. And when I heard Rachel speaking just about lifting up of women, it's the same in lifting up diversity. And we speak about it, and it's certainly come on the radar in a way that we hadn't before, which is the first step. But it takes us identifying really actively people to include in our pipeline, to mentor, as Shauna said earlier, to grow with us, and to make it a natural and organic leadership track, to bring people of diversity and all women. It's on us. We need to do the work. And I think we will. We've certainly started, but we have a lot more to do.
Thank you, Julie. Shauna, the future of philanthropy. Any words of wisdom to share with the group?
Gosh, I can go on for hours. The future of philanthropy is going back to inclusion, giving people the opportunity to have a voice at the table. I don't believe in the junior table. I believe in giving kids, giving all ages an opportunity to have a voice. Multi-generations are incredibly rich, and we really learn from all ends at different stages. And I'm really into that opportunity of talking, sharing, listening, as Julie said, because we have so much to learn, and we have so much to give, and we have so much to do. So nobody can do this work alone. So collaboration amongst the ages, I think, is our best bet.
And Rachel, let's end with you. Any thoughts again on diversity and equity, and in particular, how women leaders can use their empathy and assets and experience to make this happen?
Well, I think to go with the theme a little bit is really openness and listening. I found over the last 2 years, I've been able to have, specifically the first 6 months of COVID, a lot of time at the table with my 3 girls. And being able to listen to them, to hear what they have to say. They're living it right now, and making sure that our younger generation has a strong voice in moving us forward. And it's going to take a lot of work, but I think that we're definitely capable of doing that, and we're ready for that.
Thank you, Rachel. So I think we all can agree that we are all capable of doing hard things, and that is what we are looking forward to doing as we think about the future of philanthropy, and making it more inclusive and more equitable. and women can lead the way. So I want to thank all of you again for this very important conversation and this opportunity to celebrate the incredible work that the Lion of Judah has been able to do and accomplish in its first 50 years. So thank you all.
Thank you.
What an incredible dynamic the four of you have. Thank you so much, Jeannie, Julie, Shauna, and Rachel, for that incredible conversation. That was truly inspiring. Before we end tonight, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being incredible female philanthropists. I like to end by sharing one of my favorite quotes from the National Youth Poet Laureate, Amanda Gorman. There is light, if only we are brave enough to see it. If only we are brave enough to be it. The Lions of Judah are brave enough to see it. Together, let's be brave enough to be it, the light for the Jewish people. It is my greatest honor and privilege to be your National Women's Philanthropy Chair and stand beside my fellow Lions of Judah. It's been a pleasure spending this time with all of you, celebrating the first 50 years of Lion of Judah. And as we close the celebration, please join me and the past chairs of National Women's Philanthropy in raising a glass to the next 50 years of Lion of Judah. Cantor and composer Jacqueline Rafi will then close our program with our Lion of Judah anthem. L'chaim.
My name is Betty Kane, and I raise my glass in blessed memory and in gratitude to Toby Friedland and Norma Kipnis-Wilson, two exceptional women who founded the Lion of Judah program in Miami 50 years ago. Their vision and their creativity were truly transformative to women's philanthropy. They raised the bar for women donors in this country and beyond. And I raised my glass to my international sisterhood, the proud Lions of the National Women's Philanthropy Board, and the Lions lay and professional donors all over the country and beyond. Your excellence in volunteerism and in philanthropy continues to inspire me. And to our beloved Lion, a very happy 50th birthday. May it continue to inspire women donors for 50 more years. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. May we continue to go from strength to strength. L'chaim.
To the next 50 years, may we go from strength to strength. L'chaim.
Here's to you, Lion of Judah. You have the power of philanthropy and community, the power of family, the power of Tikkun Olam, and the greatest sisterhood in the history of the world. L'chaim.
Being a Lion of Judah means being a member of the best sisterhood on the planet, and having served as NWP chair has been one of the greatest privileges I've been blessed with over the course of my Jewish journey. And today we toast 50 years of Lion, 50 years of strong Jewish women making a difference. Today I raise my glass in memory of Norma Kipnis-Wilson, who we recently lost, and her partner in philanthropy, Toby Friedland, creators of the Lion of Judah. Their vision has inspired so many women throughout our global Jewish community. May their legacy continue to inspire generations of women to come. L'chaim.
Hi, it's Linda Adler-Hurwitz, a proud and privileged past National Women's Philanthropy Chair, and I'm here to celebrate with all of you on our 50th anniversary. Lions have made such a difference in those 50 years. We give and we live, we care and we share, and we live our lives with meaning and purpose as we help each and every Jew, those we know and we don't know. And we have a lot to be proud of. So hopefully, let's continue this beautiful work together and our children and grandchildren will join us for the next 50 years. Happy 50th anniversary, Lions.
The Lions of Judah have changed the world. Here's to the next 50 years, L'chaim.
Happy birthday to one of the most inspiring and transformational program in all of women's philanthropy. I have been so proud to be a part of it, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next 50 years. Mazel tov and happy birthday.
Mazel tov to the Lions of Judah on our 50th anniversary. Here's to the next 50 years. L'chaim.
Happy birthday, Lion of Judah. You look fabulous at 50. May this incredible community of like-minded women continue to go from strength to strength. L'chaim.
Happy 50th, Lion of Judah. Here's to another great 50 years. L'chaim.
Mazel tov on this important milestone, 50 years of the Lion of Judah. In Keren Hayesod, we wear our lions with such pride, knowing that we're connected to women from all around the world with that same love and devotion to the well-being of the Jewish people and the state of Israel. May we continue together for many years to come.
Mazal tov, congratulations, felicidades. On behalf of Keren Hayesod International Women's Division, it is my pleasure to congratulate all of you for the first 50 years of the Lion of Judah, one of the greatest symbols of Jewish women's contribution and success around the world. We should all be incredibly proud to be part of this prestigious group of women. I have had the honor to introduce the Lion of Judah into the Keren Hayesod family during my term as the International Women's Division President, long time ago. The Lion of Judah has given the organization a tremendous amount of joy and has created a true sense of internationality. We have Lions of Judah in many countries around the globe, in Europe, in Latin America, in Australia, in Canada, in Great Britain, and in South Africa. For me, the Lion of Judah represents the generosity, commitment, and sisterhood with Israel and the Jewish people. It is a symbol of solidarity and love, and a tool for helping to make the world a better place. Kol hakavod, Lions of Judah. My love to all of you. Thank you. Gracias.
Lion of Judah Israel salute you on the 50th anniversary of the wonderful and inspiring sisterhood of Jewish women throughout the world. We, your younger sister, celebrate this year 25th anniversary and are very proud to be Lion of Judah. Best of luck to all of us. May we all continue to bring light to the world.
We see a world in need. Tikkun olam is a call we heed. Justice and dignity. Our heritage teaches us we must seek. We are the lions and we wear our pin with pride. Our voices together. As women we stand, the future is better when we're hand in hand. Strong like a lion and brave like a lion, the Lion of Judah, our light keeps on shining. Strong like a lion and brave like a lion, the Lion of Judah, our light keeps on shining. We cherish what came before, each generation a guiding light. We look ahead with hope. We pledge that we'll keep the flame alive. We are the lions and we wear our pin with pride. Our voices when we're hand in hand. Strong like a lion and brave like a lion, the Lion of Judah, our light keeps on shining. Strong like a lion and brave like a lion, the Lion of Judah, our light keeps on shining. כל ישראל ערבים זה בזה וחסים על כל יושבי תבל. This is our promise and this is our call, lifting up one another and caring for all. Our voices together, as women we stand. The future is better when we're hand in hand. Strong like a lion and brave like a lion, the Lion of Judah, our light keeps on shining. Strong like a lion and brave like a lion, the Lion of Judah, our light keeps